Well, let's now go back to our breaking news this hour. The International Criminal Court in The Hague has issued an arrest warrant for Russian President Vladimir Putin. We can now bring in Piotr Hofmanski from The Hague. He is the president of the International Criminal Court. Thank you, sir, for joining us here on Al Jazeera. I have to ask you to start off with, Russia says it does not recognize the ICC. It signed the Rome Statute, never ratified it, and Putin says that he doesn't really care. What does this actually mean for President Putin?
This is, frankly speaking, completely irrelevant. According to the ICC statute, which has 123 state parties, 2/3 of the whole international community, the court has jurisdiction on crime committed in the territory of state party or a state which has accepted its jurisdiction. And in Ukraine has accepted the ICC's jurisdiction twice, in 2014, then in 2015. 43 states have referred the situation in Ukraine to the court, which means that they have formally triggered our jurisdiction. Let me stress that the court has jurisdiction over crimes committed by anyone on the territory of the Ukraine from November 2013 onwards, regardless of the nationality of the alleged perpetrators.
So, sir, just to be clear then, what does this mean for President Putin? If he is travelling outside of Russia, could he then be arrested? Is there, I guess, a need to arrest him by another state that is a signatory?
Yes, according to the statute, all state parties have the legal obligation to cooperate fully with the court, and obviously the obligation to cooperate covers also the obligation to arrest a person in respect to which the arrest warrants have been issued.
Sir, there are two cases that you filed here, but there have obviously been many more allegations of atrocities. Should we be expecting more?
The situation is obviously still in the hands of the prosecutor. So far, there were two requests for the arrest warrants, and on the basis of this request, the arrest warrants has been issued. But obviously, it does not mean that it is the end of the situation of the cases. The cases can be expanded. The new allegation can be formulated by the prosecutor on the basis of collected information evidence.
Well, let me ask you then a little more about these two cases. There was speculation amongst plenty of experts and a push potentially for some of the charges to include genocide. At the moment, we're looking at crimes against humanity. Can I ask you about the choice of the language here and the choice of the charges at stake?
No, we don't talking about the crimes against humanity. According to the decision of the pretrial chamber, the arrest warrants is for the alleged war crimes of deportation of children from Ukrainian occupied territories to the Russian Federation, and it concerns both of the suspects.
Okay. Well, given that this is also a very politically sensitive time, I want to ask you about the choice to do this right now. China is obviously trying to broker peace and seems to be making some headway. Is there a concern that this might actually prolong the war?
This is the political consideration. We are doing our job. No, we are the court of law. We are acting on the basis of the request of the prosecutor, which has lead the independent office, and we base on the presented information and evidence, and we do what is expected from us to be done. But the consequences, including the political consequences of this step, it's basically something which is behind our consideration.
Sure. Okay, so leaving that aside then, let me ask you about the evidence gathering here. There have been reports both in Russia and in Ukraine of the issue of children being taken from across the border. Are you getting cooperation from various different authorities and trying to put all of that together?
This is my understanding, but I have to tell you that the content on the arrest warrants are secret, according to the decision of the chamber. And to tell you true, I don't know what is how this situation look like. But the chamber specifically allowed us to share the information about the existence of this arrest warrants, about the personal concerns, about the crimes alleged. Nothing more, therefore, is nothing more to share.
Well, sir, I do want to ask you, you alluded there to the political consequences of this decision. And I understand, as you say, that the court is doing its job. As president of the ICC, when you're faced with situations like this, are you not personally concerned about how this might then play out in terms of the ongoing conflict?
So, I will repeat, we are the court of law, but obviously we are fully aware that we are not acting in the political vacuum. But it cannot be the case that we consider political consequences. The statute very clearly formulates our mandate, and we just act according to the mandate to realize the promise of the Rome Statute included in its preamble.
Well, we've been speaking to the president of the International Criminal Court, Piotr Hofmanski, speaking to us live from The Hague. Thank you so much, sir, for sparing us some time right now. Thank you for joining us on Al Jazeera.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.